I had no idea the British press was so bigoted.
This one's wife. George's birthday, but still no sign of the Sussex children. Hello, I'm hgchildren. It's Prince George's 11th birthday, and a fine young man he's turning into. And this caused Kensington Palace to release a new photograph of him to mark his 11th birthday. The photo was taken by his mother, Catherine, Princess of Wales, sometime this year, wishing Prince George a very happy 11th birthday today, the palace's social media account posted alongside the image. The prince was last seen in public accompanying his father, the Prince of Wales, in Berlin for the Euro 2024 final between England and Spain. Catherine regularly takes photographs of her family, sharing them on social media to mark birthdays and special occasions. Now, why does she do that? As I've explained to you, that the behaviours of a normal person, an empathic person, a narcissistic person who's not a narcissist, and a narcissist, they can all engage in similar behaviours. For instance, the institution of physical violence. But one of the reasons why we categorise people into one of those four categories is to help us understand the drivers behind that behaviour. We know that Catherine is an empath. She's driven by emotional empathy for a wide range of people. She has both narcissistic and empathic traits. Her empathic traits are greater than her narcissistic traits. Her emotional empathy causes her to make decisions without necessarily thinking about it, to behave in a particular way instinctively, which causes her to act with care, compassion, honesty, decency, etc. This isn't to suggest that she is a saint. She's perfectly capable of making mistakes, causing problems. Nevertheless, the reason that she releases these photographs is a mixture of caring and pride. Her pride operates in a healthy way, whereby she's proud of how her children are progressing, and she believes that it's right for her to share that with the world. She wants the world to see that her children are doing well and are developing into fine young people. There's also an element of compassion, in that she thinks it's nice for them to be seen by the world also. She isn't blitzing the world with 27 photographs of George on one day. That's not the case. There's lots of pictures of him in his swimming shorts as he's about to dive into a pool, and then showing him eating an ice cream or running down the road or driving a go-kart or whatever it is. She confines it to a nicely posed photograph, just the one. It's done as a mixture of pride about her son, wanting her son to have some exposure to the world, and also a sense of accountability. Because Catherine is on board with the concept of service, she recognises that there is an element of what she and her family does whereby they have to share themselves with the public at large, that as public figures, people have a natural curiosity about them. And she sees an accountability whereby she believes the public are allowed to know what they're doing and how they're progressing, not to an intrusive level. And furthermore, she doesn't feel the need to overshare, because she doesn't do this to control a narrative. She doesn't do this to control the public so that they are under control and respond by providing her with fuel, because as a non-narcissist, she has no need for fuel. She doesn't need to triangulate people with these photographs of her children. That is unnecessary. What she needs to do is to be able to show a degree of accountability by saying, we are the royal family, you are allowed a glimpse into our lives because that is the nature of the relationship. We provide service to you, we provide funding from you, we also therefore are obliged to give you a glimpse or more glimpses into our lives. And thus she understands that, and it's part of the operation of her emotional empathy. It's not about making George or any of the other children public property. She'd be far too protective for that. But she understands that she can't hide them away, because there is a natural curiosity as to what they're doing and how they're looking, but also because it is something that ought to be done. Contrast that with the behaviour of this one's wife, whose children are simply utilised as extensions of her, that they are there to serve a purpose for her pursuit of the prime aims, that she uses them to triangulate people, either by showing them or not showing them, in order to gain control, to draw reactions, that she utilises their character traits, and would harness them for residual benefits. I've explained elsewhere that the reason why the Sussex children are not seen is a combination of the fact that she has no maternal instinct and therefore would struggle to control them in a public setting, and also because all attention would be on the children and not her, and she can't stand that. She'd simply be envious of the attention going on to the children and not her. Of course, there are others who believe that they're not shown because they simply don't exist, and they're entitled to express such views. Nevertheless, you can see the sharp and marked difference between why the Princess of Wales shares a photograph of George on his birthday and how we just get told, for instance, that there was a birthday party in relation to one of the Sussex children Katy Perry attended, although it later demonstrated that she couldn't possibly have done so. No photographs are released, that there's reference made to some kind of balloon arrangement, which is done almost to advertise that, but beyond that, no details are given. The fact that the Princess of Wales releases this photograph on his 11th birthday, which contrasts with the more casual image shared on his 10th birthday, where he was seen sitting on steps, sleeves rolled back. Here, he's wearing a friendship bracelet, not dissimilar to the one worn by his sister, Princess Charlotte, during the Wimbledon final for the men earlier this month. In June, Prince George, who is second in line to the throne, celebrated his grandfather King Charles III's birthday, appearing on the balcony of Buckingham Palace with other members of the royal family. Thus, he is seen quite regularly at the birthday, in Berlin with his father, and has been seen in this photograph, which naturally is going to cause people to ask, so where are the Sussex children? And the presentation of this pleasant photograph of George amounts to a threat to control to this one's wife, because people will see George and it will naturally lead them to comment. So we see the Wales's children, but yet again there's silence from the Sussexes. Where are Archie and Lilibet? They hold the title of Prince and Princess. There is a degree of obligation for you to account to us as to how they're doing, what they're up to, what they look like. Again, there needn't be overexposure. It needn't be prying, but some indication, some provision of information would be expected, and it isn't. And it isn't provided for the reasons that I have explained. But once again, each time Catherine does something like this, presenting a picture of her children, which is entirely understandable and fair, it threatens the sense of control of this one's wife, because it will cause so many people to say, we see George, we see Charlotte, we see Loose Cannon Louis. But where are Archie and Lilibet? They remain unseen for months. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.